Welcome back to CIA Declassified. Before we dive into the murky depths of today's legal mystery, if you want the full story on the heist itself, you absolutely have to check out our previous episode, CIA Declassified, Project Azorian, Deep Sea Submarine Recovery, and the 800 Million. It's the perfect companion to what we're about to uncover. Now, on to the phrase that has haunted journalists and truth seekers for half a century. We can neither confirm nor deny the existence of the information requested. It's the ultimate bureaucratic heisman. It's called the Glomar response. It's the legal equivalent of a smoke bomb, and it all started because the CIA tried to steal a Russian nuclear submarine from 3 miles under the sea using a giant claw and a ship built by a billionaire. To understand the response, you have to understand the secret. In 1968, a Soviet submarine, the K-129, sank in the North Pacific. The Soviets couldn't find it, but the CIA, they did. The agency launched Project Azorian. They needed a cover story for a massive ship with a moon pool and a heavy lift crane. Enter Howard Hughes. The public was told the ship, the Hughes Glomar Explorer, was a deep-sea mining vessel searching for manganese nodules. In 1975, the secret leaked. Journalist Harriet Ann Felipe filed a Freedom of Information Act, or FOIA, request for records on how the CIA had tried to suppress the story. The CIA was in a corner. If they confirmed the records existed, they admitted the sub-heist was real. If they denied they existed, they'd be lying under oath. A quote from the CIA Office of General Counsel: "The very fact of the existence or non-existence of such records is itself a classified fact. To acknowledge the record is to acknowledge the operation." End quote. The agency's lawyers, led by Walt Elder, came up with a third option. They told the court they could neither confirm nor deny. It was a legal innovation that protected the Glomar secret by refusing to even admit there was a secret. The Glomar Explorer was 619 feet long. The claw itself, nicknamed Clementine, was designed to grab the sub and pull it up through the moon pool in the center of the ship. The legal battle went all the way to the D.C. Circuit Court of Appeals. The court eventually ruled in favor of the CIA, establishing the Glomar precedent. Today, every government agency uses it to dodge pesky questions. This is a quote from the Glomar response: "We must decline to confirm or deny the existence or non-existence of the records you have requested. Such action is necessary to protect intelligence sources and methods." End quote. Project Azorian was so secret that the agency even hid the mission from the Navy for years. They didn't want any conventional military oversight on their billionaire mining operation. When the story finally broke in the New York Times, the CIA's director at the time, William Colby, personally begged editors to kill the story, claiming it would start World War III. The Glomar response was actually inspired by a suggestion from a CIA official named Carl Duckett, who realized that the agency could not admit to having documents about the ship because that would officially connect the CIA to the vessel for the first time in a legal record. To make the mining cover story plausible, the CIA actually had Global Marine publish technical papers and brochures about deep-sea manganese mining, effectively creating an entire fake industry subsector to fool the Soviets. A quote from Judge Gerard Gessel. In his 1976 ruling on this case, he stated, "It is the agency's prerogative to refuse to confirm or deny, as the very admission of the existence of such records would jeopardize the national security of the United States." End quote. The Glomar Explorer was later leased to a private company and used for legitimate deep-sea drilling, but it remained under a National Defense Reserve status for decades, allowing the CIA to reclaim it at any time. Following the 9/11 attacks, the use of the Glomar response skyrocketed by over 400% as agencies began applying it not just to secret operations, but to the very names of employees and the floor plans of government buildings. Even though the Glomar story is legendary, the files regarding the legal fallout and the internal debates are still riddled with black ink. The heaviest redactions occur in the liaison with the Department of Justice section. Speculation among legal scholars suggests these bars hide a secondary Glomar protocol. The theory is that the government has a secret list of topics where they are pre-authorized to lie to judges if a Glomar response isn't enough to protect the secret. Further speculation surrounds the Soviet awareness logs. Some believe the redacted text confirms that the Soviets knew about the heist while it was happening but stayed silent to see if the CIA would fail. The agency may be hiding the fact that their perfect cover story was a total failure in the eyes of the KGB. There is a persistent conspiracy theory that the redactions in the object recovery logs hide something more than a submarine. Speculation suggests the K-129 was carrying something unconventional, not just nukes, but perhaps non-human tech. If the CIA didn't just get a sub, but something more, the Glomar response is the only thing keeping that reality from the public. Some speculate the redactions in the Howard Hughes agreements hide the true cost of his silence. The theory is that the CIA granted Hughes immunity for various illegal business practices in exchange for the use of his name and ship. There is speculation that the Glomar response was tested on the Supreme Court in a closed session. The theory is that the agency proved they could hide information even from the highest court in the land, effectively placing the CIA above the law when it comes to FOIA. Finally, some believe the redactions hide a digital Glomar, speculation that the agency has an automated system that can scrub the internet of confirming data before an FOIA request can even be processed, ensuring the neither confirm nor deny response remains technically true. There is intense speculation regarding the human remains recovered during the mission. While the official story says the sailors were given a respectful burial at sea, conspiracy theorists speculate that the redacted logs describe medical autopsies conducted on the Soviet crew to study the effects of high-pressure exposure or mysterious cargo they might have handled. A common conspiracy theory suggests that the Glomar response is used to hide Project Solar Warden, a rumored secret space fleet. Speculation holds that whenever anyone asks for the budget of space-based assets, the agency uses the Glomar shield to hide the existence of craft that defy conventional physics. Some researchers speculate that the Glomar response redactions hide an agreement with the mainstream media. The theory is that the agency has a pre-redaction pact with major news outlets to never investigate certain keywords that would trigger a Glomar response, essentially creating a silent zone in American journalism. Was the Glomar response a success? As a recovery mission, it was a partial success. The sub broke in half, and they only recovered about 1/3 of it. But as a legal maneuver, it was a masterstroke. It gave the agency a permanent shield. A quote from former CIA counsel: "The Glomar response is the most important legal tool we have. It is the wall that never breaks because you cannot attack a wall that may or may not be there." End quote. The response is now used thousands of times a year by agencies ranging from the NSA to local police departments. What started as a way to hide a submarine heist is now the standard keep-out sign for the American government. The legal success of Glomar was cemented by the 1981 case Gardels versus the CIA, where the court ruled that the agency did not even have to prove that a secret existed, only that acknowledging a request might reveal whether one existed or not. A quote from reporter Harriet Ann Felipe: "Years after her loss in court, she said, I didn't just lose a lawsuit, I watched the birth of a black hole. Once they realized they didn't have to say no, but could just say maybe, the light of transparency went out." End quote. The silence of the claw led to more than just legal jargon. It changed the way we handle the deep. Operational breakthroughs. Heavy lift deep sea salvage. Project Azorian proved we could lift thousands of tons from 3 miles down, a feat still studied by marine engineers today. The Glomar Legal Shield, a permanent change to the Freedom of Information Act that protects the existence of secrets. Covert corporate shelling. The agency perfected the use of high-profile billionaires as fronts, a method used in dozens of operations since. Nuclear forensics. The portions of the K-129 that were recovered allowed the CIA to analyze Soviet nuclear material in ways never before possible. The Glomar response reminds us that in the world of the CIA, the most powerful answer is no answer at all. It's a story of sunken steel, billionaire ghost, and a legal phrase that made the truth optional. Thanks for joining us. Next time, we examine the bat bomb legacy. During World War II, the US had a plan to strap tiny incendiary bombs to bats and drop them over Japanese cities. But what did the CIA do with that research in the years that followed? We'll look at the secret follow up programs involving biological delivery systems and the winged spies that never retired. Join us for the Nightwing Chronicles. In the meantime, I'll see you in the archives.